Hello guys, welcome back to Ceefashion Academy. Today I have good news for you guys. I'll be teaching you guys a topic that most of us here on YouTube have not really done for you guys. Some have done it, but I'll be teaching you guys so many things today. Okay, now let me explain. Sometimes you usually wish that, let's say you want to make a cloth for somebody and you have some measurements, you don't have others. Now I'm going to teach you guys how to get order of those measurements. I like how to get measurements, other measurements from the little one you have. Now, example, I'll be teaching you guys how to get your shoulder measurement when you don't have your what? Shoulder measurement. Let's say you have your shoulder measurement. Let's say you don't have your shoulder measurement and you have your bust measurement. I will teach you how to use the bust measurement to get the what? Shoulder measurement. Okay, guys, not just only shoulder measurement. I will also teach you how to use your what? Bust measurement to get your what? Under bust measurement. Vice versa. I will also teach you how to use your under bust measurement to get your bust measurement. So what am I trying to say? I'll be giving you guys some of the secrets that so many persons have been hiding from you guys. You understand? Most of us normally learn how to cut and sew, the basic part, but this is the experience part that we are talking about. So guys, I'll be teaching you guys this. So I want you to make sure you focus, make sure you watch this video to the end. Then if I actually did good, if I actually gave you a big knowledge, so please, I want you to make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you click on that like button, and also make sure you click on the red button, which is the subscription button. Do that to support our ministry. Thank you, and may God bless you. Okay guys, like I said, I'll be starting from the word shoulder. Now look at it. This, as you can see, this is a normal basic bodice which stops at the what? The half length. Now in a situation whereby you have a measurement, let's say the round bust is what? 40 inches. Let's say the round bust of the person is what? 14. Like I said, we'll be getting our what? Shoulder. How do you get your what? Shoulder? Whereby you have every other measurement, but you did not have what? Shoulder. So how can you get it? Let's say our round bust is what? 40 inches. So in this case, if our round bust is 40 inches, in order for you to get your shoulder, what you're going to do is what? Round bust, which is 40 divided by what? 6 plus 1.5. Are you seeing it? 40 divided by 6 plus what? 1.5. Okay, in this case, 40 divided by 6 is going to give us around 6.666. Then continuation, it will now stop at what? 7. Now, all you're going to do is we'll do what? Add 1.5 to it. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that for a bust of 40, I'll be getting the what? Shoulder. So divide it by 6, which will give you what? 6.667. Do you understand? Then add 1.5 to it, which the formula says we should add 1.5 to it. So at the end of the day, what you'll be getting is what? Around 8.1666. Are you seeing it? So at the end of the day, we can be able to say that what? The shoulder for a bust of 40 is what? 8 inches. Do you guys understand this? Okay, so that is how to get the what? The shoulder of someone whose round bust is what? 40 inches. Okay, so I'll also be giving you guys another formula on how to get this particular shoulder. Okay, what is the formula? Let's say we're also using for a what? Bust of 40 inches. Are you seeing it? So all you're going to do is to do what? Do the normal 40 divided by what? 4. The normal way we usually divide our what? Round bust. So 40 divided by 4, which is going to give us what? 10 inches. So now, see the formula. The formula is 40 divided by 4 minus 2. So 40 divided by 4 is what? 10. Now, let's say 10 minus what? 2 is going to give us what? 8. So that is it. Okay, guys. I hope you guys really understood this particular one. So I'll be moving over into what? A new topic. Okay. Okay, guys. I hope this particular one is clear. So I'll be moving over into what? How to get your what? Armhole length. Okay. So for you to get your armhole length, like we did on shoulder, for you to get your armhole length, please, I would like to give you guys this secret. Getting your shoulder and getting your armhole length, they all have the same formula. Do you guys understand? Like I said, anyway you see, I gave you guys this method. Are you seeing this formula for you guys to get your what? Shoulder? Please, I will still like to tell you that this is the exact formula for the what? Armhole length. Now, I'm talking about armhole length. What is really armhole length? For those of us that don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, now armhole length is the distance. Looking at this, our basic bodice. Are you seeing it? The distance from here. Are you seeing it? The distance from here towards this side. We use the armhole length to do what? To form the armhole. Are you seeing the distance from here to here is the armhole length? Now looking at this particular one, the armhole length is what? 7 inches. So how are we going to get the 7 inches? How do you get your armhole length? Please use the same formula that I used here to get my shoulder. Now let's say for you to get your armhole length of someone who has bust of 40, all you are going to do is to do what? 40, that is the round bust, divided by what? 6 plus what? 1.5. This is the same thing I use for the what? How to get the what? Shoulder. Okay, so when you do this, at the end of the day, what you'll be getting is what? 8.1666. So what I'm actually trying to say is that, let's say this particular basic block pattern now is for this person that has bust of 40. It means that the armhole length is going to be what? 8 inches. And the shoulder is also going to be what? 8 inches. So also goes to the same formula that I gave you guys on how to get the shoulder, which is the same thing on how to get your what? Armhole length. The second formula says, still this round bust divided by 4. Are you seeing it? Minus what? 2. So round bust divided by 4 is what? 10 minus 2, which is still what? 8 inches. So this is also a formula on how you get your what? Armhole length. Look at it. This is how you get your armhole length. Now, I hope you guys really get this one very, very clear. Okay, now let's say in a situation you have your shoulder already and you want to get your what? Armhole length. Now I can tell you that you don't need to go through this stress of calculating this using the bust. All you need to do is what? Since your shoulder is 8 inches, do you understand? All you need to do is to do what? Mark out what? 8 inches for your what? Armhole length. So what am I trying to tell us now? I'm trying to tell us that shoulder divided by 2. Do you understand what I mean? Let's say your shoulder is 16. When you divide it by 2 is what? 8. That same 8 is still your what? Armhole length. Hope that one is well understood now. Okay, so let's move over into the next one. Okay guys, the next one is I'm going to teach us how to use our what? Under bust length to get our what? Bust length. Okay, now look at it. What I mean by under bust length is what? When you measure from the shoulder down to the what? Under bust. That is what? Under bust length. So I'm going to teach you how to use this from shoulder to the under bust to get the what? From shoulder to the what? Nipple point, which is the what? The bust length. As you can see on this pattern, I have all this. Now look at it. Here is the what? Shoulder. Here is the what? The bust length, which is the what? Nipple point. And here is the what? The under bust. Let's say you don't have your bust length, which in this case, this one you are seeing here now is what? 10 inches. While the under bust length is what? 13 inches. Let's say you have 13 inches, but you don't have the what? The 10 inches. How do you get this bust length? That is the question. So I'm going to teach you guys how to get it. Now look at it. It's very, very simple. Now, for you to get the bust length, all you need to do is what? Make sure you have your what? Under bust length. Now, in this case, the under bust length of this one is what? 13 inches. So if I'm to get the bust length, it should be what? 13 minus 3. Do you understand? In other words, look at what you are going to do. From here, keep your tape and step up with what? 3 inches. Remember what I said? For under bust length of what? 13. The bust length is going to be what? 13 minus what? 3. You are going to subtract 3 from what? 13 in order to get the bust length, which is what? 10 inches. So if you cannot do it like that via mathematics form, all you need to do is to do what? Look at it. If this is your under bust length, from here, make sure you step back, or whichever one you want to say, step back with what? 3 inches. As you can see, here is our bust length. Hope that one is well understood. Okay. So now, let's say vice versa. You have your what? Bust length, but you don't have your what? Under bust length. What are we going to do? It's very simple. So all you need to do is to do what? From the bust length, make sure you do what? Step down with what? 3 inches. Remember what I said? If you have your under bust length, you don't have your bust length. All you need to do is to do what? From under bust length, step up with what? 3 inches. Now, from this particular one, if you have your bust length, you don't have your under bust length. All you need to do is to do what? From this particular bust length, step down with what? 3 inches. Okay, so that is it for under bust length of what? 13. So now some of us will want to ask me, is it only 13? No, I'm not going to tell you guys only 13. Okay, now let me give you guys the formula proper. Now, let's say you have under bust length of what? 13, and you have under bust length of what? 14. Now, from 13 to 14 is what? Minus 3, or Do you understand what I mean? From 13 to 14 is what? Minus 3. What do I mean by that? If you have under bust length of what? 14 inches. For you to get your nipple point, from that particular 14, subtract what? 3. That is by what? Placing your tape like this and step up with what? 3 inches. Do you understand? I said 13 to 14 is what? Minus 3. Subtract 3 from what? Your under bust length. You get your what? Bust length. Okay. Then 15 is what? Minus 3.5. Please, I want you to know that 15 is what? Minus 3.5. Now, see what I mean? For under bust length of 13 to what? 14 inches. It is what? For you to get your bust length, it is what? Let's say it is under bust length of what? 13 inches. What you're going to do is what? 13 minus what? 3, which is we give you what? 10 inches. Do you understand? Now let's say for under bust length of 14, it's still the same thing as 14 minus 3, which is going to give you what? 11 inches as the what? Bust length. Okay, let's say for under bust length of what? 15, all you're going to subtract is what? 15 minus 3.5. Do you understand? 15 is what? 3.5, which will give you what? 11.5. Okay, so that is the what? The bust length for what? Under bust length of what? 15. You minus what? 3.5. Okay, for under bust length of what? 16 to what? 17. Do you understand? You are going to subtract what? Let's say for 16 is what? 16 minus what? 4. Do you understand? Which will give you what? 12 as the what? The bust length. Now for under bust length of 17, which is the same thing as 4. Do you understand? Minus 4, which is going to give you what? 13 as the what? Bust length. Okay. So now let's say you have someone who has what? Under bust length of what? Under bust length of what? 18 or 19. All you're going to subtract from this is what? 4.5. Okay, so let me still extend it. So let's say someone who has what? Under bust length of what? From 20 and above. That is what? The person has very, very big breast. I've not really seen that one before, but I'm kind of giving you guys the formula. Now, all you're going to minus from this person is what? 5. So let's say somebody has under bust length of what? 20 inches. All you need to do is what? 20 minus what? 5. Which is the bust length that is from shoulder to the nipple point should be what? 15 inches. Oh, that one is well explained. Okay, guys. So guys, like I said, if you are enjoying this, I want you to do what? Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Okay, that makes me happy, makes me do more and more videos for you guys. Okay, so we have our next topic here, which is what? I want to teach you now. Let's say you have a measurement. You have every other measurement. You have the bust, but you don't have the what? The round under bust. Remember what I said now? You have the round bust, but you don't have the what? The round under bust. I said the formula is what? Round bust minus what? 3 or minus 4 or minus 5 or minus 6 or minus 7 or minus 8. Which 3 represents for what? Very small bust. Do you understand? Why 4 represents just small busts? Why 5 represents average bust? 6 represents what? More than average bust, which is kind of a big bust. Why 7 represents what? Very big bust. Why 8 represents what? Very, very big bust. So in a situation whereby the person in question has a what? A very small bust. You're looking at the person or you're looking at the picture and you see that the person's breast is small. So all you're going to do is to do what? The person's round bust minus what? 3 is going to give you what? The round under bust. So but if you look at the person and you notice that the person's breast via picture, do you understand, or via video, that the person's breast is small but not very, very small. Do you understand? All you're going to do is to do what? Round bust minus what? 4. If you look at the person, you see that the person has what? Average breast. All you're going to do is to do what? Round bust minus what? 5, which will give you the what? The round under bust. If you look at the person, you notice that the person has slightly big breasts. All you need to do is to do what? Round bust minus what? 5. No, minus 6. Do you understand? We'll give you the what? The round under bust. But when you look at the person, you notice that the person has a very big bust. All you're going to do is to do a round bust minus what? 7. Finally, when you look at the person, you notice that the person has a very, very big bust. all you are going to do is to do what? Round bust minus what? 8, which will give you the what? The round under bust. Let's say we have someone whose round bust is what? 40. And by men looking at the person, please, there's a mistake that people normally do is that when they usually assume that someone has a big bust just by what? Seeing the what? Round bust. Please, this is very, very wrong. You don't do that. If someone has round bust of 40, that doesn't mean that the person's bust is kind of, let's say the person's bust is what? Average. See, someone can have round bust of 40 and at the same time has very small bust. What am I trying to say? You've seen some persons that when you measure them, it is what? When you measure them, you can measure what? 45 as when you measure their round bust. But looking at them, they have little or no bust. Do you understand? So that is what I mean. So let's say someone who has bust of what? 40 has a very small breast. Okay, let me use breast. Has a very small breast. And you want to know the what? Round under bust. All you need to do is to do what? 40 minus what? 3, which will give us what? 37. So that means the round bust is what? 40. Why the what? The round under bust is what? 37. Why? Because the person has a very small breast. Okay. Then for someone, still the same person, let's say the same person has a what? Bust of what? 40 inches. And the person has an average bust. Do you understand? So all you're going to do in order to get the what? Round under bust is to do what? Like I told you guys, average bust is what? Look at it here. Average bust is what? Minus 5. So all you are going to do is to do what? 40 minus 5, which will give you what? 35. And that means the round under bust is what? 35. Why the round bust is what? For 40. Now, for someone who has a big bust, let's say someone who has a big bust, let's say 45, and you want to get the what? Round under bust. Remember I told you guys, big bust is what? 6 inches. So all you are going to do is to do what? 45 minus 6, which will give you what? 39. Means that what? The round under bust is what? 39. Then for someone who has a very big bust, let's say very big bust of what? Bust of 52. What are you going to do? Remember I said very big bust is what? 7 inches. So what am I trying to say? I will do now 52 minus what? 7. That will give me what? 45. Do you understand? 52 minus 7 will give me what? 45. So that means you have a bust of what? 52, which is what? Very big bust. So subtract 7 from what? 52, which will give me what? 45. So 45 is now the what? The round under bust. Okay. So let's say someone who has a very, very big bust. What I mean by very, very big bust? Okay, let's say the person's bust is what? 60 inches. Remember I told you guys that very, very big bust is what? 8 inches. So all you are going to do is to do what? 60 minus what? 8. Which the under bust is going to be what? 52. Hope you guys really understood this particular thing. Please, I want to make sure that you guys really understand this thing. Okay. Please, I want you guys to know that I'll be moving over into the next one, which is what? How to use the what? The round under bust. Remember what I did was how to use the round bust to get the what? Round under bust. Now it is what? How to use the what? The round under bust to get the what? Round bust. Please, this is more like opposite. Remember what we did on this one is what? Round bust minus. Now this time around, for you to use the round under bust to get the round bust, we are going to be using what? Addition. What do I mean by that? Okay. Now let's say someone who has what? Round under bust of 40, and the person has a very, very small bust. All we are going to do is to do what? 40 plus 3. Remember, previously we used minus. So this case is what? Round under bust of 40, and the person has a very, very small bust. All we are going to do is what? 40 what? Plus 3 will give us what? 44, which is the what? The round bust. Still use that same formula like I said. If somebody has what? Round under bust of what? 30, and the person has a very big breast, what are you going to do? No, and the person has a small breast. Remember, this one is what? Very small. 3 is for what? Very small. While 4 is for what? Small. Now, if the person has a small breast, all you're going to do is what? 30 plus what? 4, which will give you what? 34. Let's say somebody who has what? Round under bust of what? 34. The person has what? Average breast. All you are going to do is to do what? 34 plus what? 5. 5 is for what? Average. which will give you what? 39. Okay, let's say someone who has a what? Round under bust of what? Round under bust of 39 inches, has a big bust, a bust that is what? More than average. All you are going to do is to do what? 39 plus what? 6, which will give you what? 45. That means the person's bust is now what? 45. Okay, let's say the person round under bust of what? Round under bust of what? 40. And the person has a very, very big what? Bust or breast. All we are going to do is to do what? 40 plus what? 7, which will give us what? 47. So finally, in a situation whereby somebody has round under bust of what? Let's still say the same 40, and the person has very, very big bust, like very, very big bust. All we are going to do is to do what? 40 plus what? 8, which will give us what? 48. So in this case, we've used the under bust to get the what? The round bust, as you can see. So it is what? Vice versa. We normally use subtraction in what? Use getting what? Under bust. In this case, we use what? Addition. Okay, that is it. So if you guys did not, for those of you that did not really understand this thing, please, I want you to make sure you ask questions via the what? Comment section. This thing is very, very important. Okay, guys. So I'll be moving over into the next step. The next step, which is what? How to get your what? Half length or waistline whenever you are making any kind of garment. Okay, let's say in a situation you want to make a peplum blouse. You have every other measurement, but you don't have the measurement of where the what peplum is going to start. How do you get the measurement of that place? I call it the what? The half length. You understand? So it's very simple. I want you to know that. It's very simple. Now look at it. Your under bust length, that is from shoulder to the what? Under bust. Let's say in this case, this particular one we are seeing is what? 13. All you need to do is to do what? Step down or add 3 to it. That is 13 plus 3 is going to give you what? 16. Are you seeing it? I've added 3 to it. So if I measure it totally, I'll be getting what? 16 inches. So that is it. Now, for those of you that want to ask me whether that 16 is fixed, yes, my dear, it is fixed for now. Do you understand? So all I'm still trying to say is that what? If your under bust length is what? 15 inches, it means that 15 plus what? 3 will be your what? Half length. That is 15 plus 3 is what? 18. That means 18 inches is your what? Half length. So we are done with that particular one. That one is very simple, shey. Okay, guys, we have our next one, which is what? How to get what? The crotch length. I want you guys to know that there is formula to getting this particular crotch length. And the formula is not hard, my dear. It's not hard. Okay. Crotch length. Okay. Crotch length. Okay. For those of us that don't know what crotch length is, I would like to explain crotch length for you guys. Now look at it. If this is a short, are you seeing it? Or let's say if this is a trouser folded, are you seeing it? So now, for us to know what a crotch length is the distance from the waist. Are you seeing the middle of the waist down to what? This particular point. Are you seeing it? So in essence, let me draw another short or trouser to show you guys what I mean by that. Okay. Okay, guys, see it here. So the crotch length is the distance from here. Are you seeing it? From here down to what? This particular point. Are you seeing it? So in order to get it, because we usually need it whenever we are making trousers, most persons usually have problem while looking for a way to get this particular crotch length. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the simplest formula. Okay, what is the formula? In order to get your crotch length, formula is what? The round hip. The round hip divided by what? 4. Simple. That is how to get your what? Crotch length. So let's say in a situation, someone who has a what? A round hip of what? 40 inches. To get the crotch length, all you need to do is to do what? 40 divided by 4, which is what? 10 inches. That means the crotch length should be what? 10 inches. That is the distance from here to here is going to be what? 10 inches. Do you guys understand? Okay. Now, I would like to tell you that this particular formula that I gave you is for a normal waist crotch length. What do I mean by a normal waist? It is at the what? The normal waist. Now, if you want to get a crotch length for a high waist, it is almost the same formula, but a little bit different. Now, look at it. It is what? Round hip divided by what? 4. Now, you are going to add what? Plus 3 to it. So, in this case, round hip divided by 4 is what? 10. Then you now add what? 3 to it, which is what? 13. Do you understand? So, at the end of the day, 13 now will now be the distance from here to here, which will be our crotch length. In that case, it will be able to reach at the what? The high waist level. Hope that one is well understood again. Okay, so I will also need to do what? Explain please, I want you to know that the same formula for the what high waist trouser is the same formula that I use for my what jumpsuit. See these 3 inches for jumpsuit, I call it the what the ease. It helps to do what balance the what the jumpsuit, so that whenever you sit down, you can be able to sit down properly. It will not be what too tight. You'll be able to do what sit down. So I use this same thing to get my what jumpsuit crotch length. Hope you know that. Okay guys, the next I'm going to teach us is what how to get our bust span. We call it what the bust span. Please, this bust span can also be called the what the nipple to nipple. That is the distance from the left nipple to the right nipple, or the distance from the what right nipple back to the what the left nipple. We normally need it whenever we want to do what add that to our clothes. Do you understand? Okay, so how do you get this? Please, it's very simple. The formula is what round bust. So you can see round bust divided by what 8. Then what else do you do? Round bust divided by 8 minus 1. Let's say we have a round bust of 40 inches. You divide it by 8. What you're going to get is what 40 over 8 is what 5. Now you say 5 minus 1, which is going to give you what equals to 4. It means that our nipple to nipple, or our bust span for a bust of what 40 is what 4 inches. Now this 4 inches is what unfold. Please, I want you to know that unfold. What do I mean by unfold? You know, normally when we want to cut, we normally fold material into 2, and whatever we are dividing, we divide it by 2. Let's say the nipple to nipple or the bust span is what 8 inches. When we divide it by 2, you get what 4 inches. That is what I mean by what unfold. So this formula gives you the result on fold. Do you understand? But if now look at what I'm explaining, look at it. So let's say this is what are you seeing it? This is an example. So let's say our nipple to nipple is from here to here. Are you seeing? So that is what I mean by what 4, which when you expand it, do you understand? When expanded, instead of being 4, it will be what 8 inches. Do you understand? So this one is what unfold, while this one is what expanded. Do you understand? So the result we got is for the one what unfold. Okay, in order to get the result for what expanded, if you need that particular one, I'm still going to give it to you here. So the result for expanded is simply what the round bust divided by what 4, then minus 2 inches. Okay, so let's say round bust divided by 4, which is 40 over 4 is what 10 inches minus what 2, which is going to give us what 8 inches. As you can see, here is what 44, here is what 4, which is what unfold. When you expand it, you get what 8 inches, which is what for expanded. So that is it for what the nipple to nipple, or the what the bust span. Okay guys, the next is I'll be teaching us how to get the what the thigh, the person's thigh, that is the circumference of the thigh. Now if you don't have your thigh measurement but you have your hip measurement, all I can tell you is that you can get the thigh measurement following this particular instruction or formula which I'm going to show you. So in order to get the thigh with the hip, all the formula is what the round thigh, no, this formula is the round hip divided by 4, then plus 2 to what 3 inches. What do I mean by this 2 to 3 inches? I did not say only 2. I did not say only 3. I said what? 2 to 3 inches. Now, this 2 to 3 inches means when the person is small, when the person's size is small, like that is small size. The one I mean by small size, those that are very slim. Do you understand? It means that theirs should be what? 2 inches. That's what I mean by 2 inches. Then when an average size is what? 2.5. Then when you have a big size is for what? 3. So let's say for a small size to get the thigh with the hip. Now let's say the hip of the person is what? 36. Do you understand? Let's say for someone who is small, the hip of the person is what? 36. Now in order to get the thigh, all we are going to do is what? 36 divided by 4 plus what? 2 inches. So in this case, 32 divided by 4, which is going to give us what? 9 inches plus what? 2 inches, which is going to give us what? 11. So in this case, it means that the person's style is what? 11. Now, I want you to know that this 11 is still what? Unfold. Now, when you expand it, in order to get the full circumference of the person is what? 11 times 2, which will give you what? 22. It means that the person's thigh is what? 22 inches. Now, let's move over to if the person is what? Average. Now, let's say someone who has a hip of what? 40. No, let's say someone who has a hip of what? 42. And you want to get the what? The thigh. The person is what? On average size level. Okay, all you're going to do is what? 42 divided by what? 4. Which is, okay, then 42 divided by 4 plus what? 2.5. Which is what? 42 divided by 4 is going to give us what? 10.5. Then you add what? 2.5 to it, which is going to give us what? 13 inches. In that case, 13 inches is what? On fold, which means that to get the full thigh is what? 13 times 2, which is going to give us what? 26. That means the person's thigh is what? 26 inches. Okay. So let's move over to the what? The big size, which is what? 3 inches. So for somebody who is on the bigger size level, now let's say that person, the hip is what? Okay, let's say the person, the hip is 48. Do you understand? 48. Now all we are going to do is what? 48 divided by what? 4. Then plus what? 3 inches. Do you understand? Then 48 divided by 4 is going to give us what? 12 inches. Then you add what? 3 inches to it, which is giving us what? 15. And you know that 15 is on what? On fold, which is going to give us what? 15 times 2 is what? 30. It means that the person's thigh circumference is what? 30 inches. Okay, guys, I'm actually done with this particular one. Hope it's well understood. Okay, I will also teach you how to use the thigh measurement to get the what? The hip measurement. Do you understand? So let's say in a situation whereby you have the person's thigh measurement, but you don't have the what? The hip measurement. Please, I want to tell you that I also make use of this same formula. See, this same formula of what? 2.5 and what? 3. But in this case, I'm not going to be adding, rather I'll be doing what? Subtracting. Okay. So like I said, guys, this time around I'll be teaching you how to use the word, the thigh in this case, to get the word, the hip. Remember what we did on using the hip to get the thigh is what? We added. Remember this our figures we have here. Please, let's always make use of it. 2 is for what? Small size. 2.5 is for what? Average size. While 3 is for what? Big size. Okay, now what are we going to do now? Let's say in a situation somebody who's on the smaller size has a what? Thigh of 22. Now all I want you to do is what? I want you to do what? Fold this 22 into 2. Like let's say we are folding our material into 2. That means it's no longer going to be what? 22. It's going to be what? 22 divided by what? 2, because we are folding our material into 2. Do you understand? So it's going to be what? 11 inches. So since now it is 11 inches, that is the thigh divided by 2 is 11 inches. All we will have to do now, we are not going to any longer add like we did on the other one. All we are going to do now is to subtract. Remember, it's for what? A small size. So all we are going to do is what? 11 minus what? 2 inches. Are you seeing it? Which is going to give us what? 9 inches. Now I want you to know that this 9 inches is the hip circumference divided by 4. That is what we have here. Do you understand? So for you to get the full hip circumference, all you need to do is to do what? 9 times 4, which will give us what? 36. It means that someone whose thigh is what? 22 inches, the hip is going to be what? 36 inches. Now let me do it again for you to really understand. Now in this case, I'll be using what? An average size what? Average size. Okay, so let's say someone who has thigh of what? 26 inches. So remember what I said, since we'll be folding the material into 2, you divide your 26 by 2, which will be giving us what? 13 inches. And also remember what I said, this 13 inches, since the person is on average size, that means average is what? 2.5. So all we are going to be doing now is what? 13 minus 2.5, which is going to be giving us what? 11.5. Do you guys understand? Now, this 11.5, remember what I said? This is the person's round hip divided by 4. So in order to get the full hip circumference, all we are going to do is what? 11.5 times what? 4, which is going to be giving us what? Which is going to be giving us 46 inches. So that means for someone whose thigh is what? 26 inches, the hip is going to be what? 46 inches. Okay, let me do the final one concerning about the thigh. So for someone who has thigh of what? 30 inches, in order to get the hip, all you need to do is to do what? Since we are folding our material into 2, so the 30 divided by what? 2 is what? 15 inches. And remember what I said? This 15 inches is what? The Okay, now look at it. This 15 inches you are seeing here now, all you need to do, since we are talking about what the bigger size somebody, all we need to do what 15 minus what 3, which is going to be giving us what 12 inches. And remember what I said, this 12 inches is the person's hip divided by what 4. So in order to get the full scale of the person's round hip, what we are going to do is what 12 times what 4, which is going to be giving us what 48 inches. It means that for someone whose thigh is what 30 inches and the person is on a bigger size, obviously that means the hip is going to be what 48 inches. That is obuku. Okay guys, this one is going to be what brief. Now let me give you guys this particular secret. This is a secret and it's also a tip. I've seen this thing several times. I'll be wondering, I say one day I'll surely take it out there. I know that some of you must have noticed this particular thing. Now let's say in a situation whereby you want to get your round crotch. Now there's something I normally do. There's something I call round crotch. Please, I did not say crotch length. I've told us what crotch length is all about. Now I said round crotch. Now round crotch, I don't know whether you've actually been in a position that when somebody wants to measure you, let's say this is a trouser, are you seeing it? When somebody wants to measure you, person will start from the waist. Do you understand? Now take it back to your butt. Person will take it back. Do you understand? And take it to this side. Are you seeing it? Let's say from the waist. Now look at it from the waist, and the person will take the tape. Are you seeing it? To the back. At the end of the day, the person will take the measurement. Do you understand? I say from the front, the person will take it through the crotch. Are you seeing it? Then to the back. What I call this is the round crotch. Now let me tell you something. Sometimes I measure this. I don't really use it to draft my pattern. But what do I use it for? I use it to cross check. Now when I measure this on you, and when I'm drafting my trouser, now I use it to do cross check whether it is up to that. If it's not up to that, that means it's not going to enter my customer. It's not going to be my customer's size. Just as I use it to do cross check. Now in a situation whereby you need it but you did not measure that person, but you have the person's thigh measurement. Now this is so simple. I want to tell you that if you actually measure the thigh very well, now what I want to tell you is the thigh which you measured very well, it is exactly equal to the round crotch. Now what I'm trying to tell you is that some persons own might vary, not because this formula is not correct, but because they did not, where they pointed to be their waist is not a normal trouser waist. It might be high waist. Do you understand? So if it is high waist, it's not going to match. But if it's a regular waist, trouser waist, it is actually going to match perfectly. Okay, so let's move over into the next one. Okay guys, now I want to give us a tip about the hip line. That is the gown hip line. You know, understand what I mean by the gown hip line? Whenever you're measuring for a gown, we usually measure for the gown hip line. Now in a situation where you do not measure the gap hip line, now I'm not really kind of telling you how to get it for now. I will tell you how to get it, but what I'm trying to let you know now is whatever you get, you can use it to determine whether the person is short or is tall, or whether the person is at average level. Or even if they send measurements for you, you can be able to ask the person, is this person short person? And they will tell you that. How did you know? Now I'm going to show you how you know those things. Now let's say you measure a gown hip line, and that gown hip line is 23 inches. All I can tell you is that the person is very short. Do you understand? The person is very short. So if you measure at the end of the day, you get the hip line of 24 inches. All I can tell you, the person is not very short, but the person is still is still short. Okay, so if the person's hip line is 25, now I can tell you that this one is the person is not very short, the person is not short, rather the person is a little bit of average. Person is average. In fact, the person is average. Now the person is 26. This is above average. I call it above average. It's not like the person is tall, but the person is above average. Now if the person's hip line, that is from shoulder to the hip line, is 27. This particular person is not average. Rather, you call the person a tall somebody. Okay. So the next is hip line of 28 inches. Call the person is very tall. Now for hip line of 29 to 30 inches, call the person very, very tall. Okay, so I want to let you know something. this is it. So this is how you know, if you see measurements of a hip line, you'll be able to tell whether person is tall or what, short. Now there's something I really want to tell us. So many of us do neglect measurements. Now I want to tell you something. Measurement is the key. Measurement is the key. Most of us, even some persons that call themselves professional, I'm not perfect. But what I'm trying to say is that if we are to call ourselves professional, let's be able to know at least the measurement part. Most of us don't even know how to really measure properly. They do guesswork. Do you understand? They do after they finish. So at the end of the day, you see them amending up to like 7 times, more than 2 times. It's not like amendment is bad, but you don't need to amend in a way that the customer will be frustrated. What am I trying to say? If only you know how to measure, that's when this particular tip or secret is very correct. If you measure very, I see some persons when they measure hip line, they might end up getting 28 inches. But when I measure, I get 26 inches or 25 inches. That is very big difference. Do you understand? So please, I want you guys to do what? Make sure you go back to my video on how to take a basic measurement, all the different parts of the body. You will actually learn something from there. I know most of us don't like watching those kind of videos, but I can tell you that it will really, really help you. Instead of every day watching all these authentic and more sophisticated videos. Okay guys, I have this next topic. As you can see, what you are seeing is a broomstick. My broomstick is not too fine or joronjo, but I will be managing it for now. Do you understand? It's very ugly, but I'll be managing it. Okay, so look at it. I'm going to be showing you something. You will be working with this particular broomstick. I've been doing it in my videos. If you want to know how to really make use of it, you can actually go back to my videos and watch them differently. You see them, but I'll still show you how to make use of it now. Okay, so now all you need to do is to do what? Get out, as in make sure you bring out what? A broomstick, which is what? The one that is what? Very, very flexible. You understand? See, the one that is what? Very, very flexible. Now, when you look for your French curve or your other curve sets, you did not see them, please, I want to tell you that you shouldn't lose hope. You always have something around you. That is what? Broomstick. In every home, we usually have what? A broom. Do you understand? So just get one, which is what? Flexible, which cannot break. Do you understand? So all you need to do is to do what? Now look at this. And I want to show you this. Now look at this neck now. Are you seeing it? This curve you're seeing here now? I can tell you that what I use for this curve is what? A broomstick. Now, first of all, I want to let you know something. There's something I usually do whenever I want to make a curve. As you can see this now, are you seeing it? This is a diagonal line. This is what? Angle 90. Are you seeing it? This is the vertical line. This is the horizontal line. Now, whenever I want to make a curve, I usually draw this. Look at it. From here to here, which is what? 1 inch. Are you seeing it? Immediately I draw it. Next thing I'm going to do is to do what? Look at it. Next thing I'm going to do is to do what? I'm going to take my what? Broomstick and do what? Draw my curve following that particular point. Now look at it. I'll take my broomstick. Are you seeing it? Carve it like this. Okay. Then when I'm done, now look at it. Are you seeing it? So when I'm done now, okay, place it very well. Now, all you need to do is to do what? Draw out your curve. As you can see, so nice, so beautiful. Okay, now let me draw out the curve somewhere else so that you'll be able to notice that, so that you'll be able to see that the broom works so fine. Let me draw out the curve somewhere else. Are you seeing it? So nice. Okay, guys. So that is exactly the same way I did this particular curve. Now, how do you do it? Place the broom like this. Are you seeing it? Place it like this. Hold it. Are you seeing it? Now I can be able to do what? Draw out my what? Armhole curve. So nice. So I hope you thank me for this particular broom. If you want to thank me, all you need to do is to do what? Make sure you go and give me thumbs up. Thank you. May God bless you. Okay, guys, I still have so many things to teach you, but because of time, because of what I will upload, I don't want it to take much time, I will also make another video to give us more and more extra tips. Okay, but for today, I think I am done, and I want you to do what? Make sure you give me a thumbs up, and make sure if you are new to my channel, if this is your first time seeing my video, please don't fail to do what? Click on that red button, that red subscribe button. This what? Free of charge. Make sure you click on that so that next time I post video, you'll be the first to be notified. Thank you, and may God bless you. I love you guys. I'll continue doing video for you guys no matter what it takes. Bye.